Welcome to Hack Your Health with Dr. Nat, a transformative live stream TV show that brings wellness within everyone's reach. Each episode, featuring expert guests, delves into crucial topics like hormonal health, effective detoxification, and stress management through nervous system optimization. Gain practical insights into nutrition, supplementation, efficient workouts, and biohacking tools to enhance mental and physical health. So now, please welcome the host of Hack Your Health, Dr. Nat.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hack Your Health with Dr. Nat. I'm excited for this show today because it is the topic that is really dear to my heart. So we're going to talk about exercise. So 5 reasons your workouts are not giving you the results that you want and what to do about it. So we're going to cover common pitfall, mistakes people make, that will impede on their exercise regimen, optimization strategies, practical tips, how to modify our workout plan, and also kind of mind over muscle and how to stay motivated and engaged so we can achieve our fitness goal. So my guest for the show is another Natalie, Natalie Rivier. So let's bring her on.
Hi. Good too, Natalie. So fun.
Yeah, it's so fun. One with an H and one without. So, Natalie, I'm going to read your quick bio, but I always love it when people talk about their own journey, because it's one thing to read a bio, but getting it from the person is 10 times better. So, Natalie is a certified fitness trainer holding over a dozen certifications in various forms of fitness. In 2003, she graduated from the Canadian School of Nutrition. Loved the program so much, was so life-changing for her that she bought the school. And then for 18 years, she was a branch manager and owner of the Ottawa location of the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. Natalie has a real passion for sports, as we will find out more about, and holds a diploma in advanced sports nutrition from the Shaw Academy in Ireland. She's traveled extensively around the world, training hotel staff, resort staff, talking about wellness and nutrition. She focuses mostly on women, but I'm sure the talk today will be both for men and women. So again, Natalie, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Good. So Natalie, it's people like us that are in the health field. We have a passion oftentimes because we have a bit of a story, what led us to do what we do. So love to hear your story and your journey in starting in health.
Yeah, so I have 2 stories, actually. The first one starts way back in high school. So in high school, growing up, I wasn't very active. There was nothing I really liked. All these sports, they just weren't my thing. These team type things that just didn't light my fire. And in grade 10, I signed up for this gym class called Fit for Life. And only 9 girls signed up for this gym class. So we were able to do some really unique activities. In the first week, for example, I grew up in the country. So the teacher told us, tell your dads to throw your bicycles in the back of the pickup truck, bring them all to school. We're going to do cycling for a few weeks, and we're going to do running and all this stuff. But then on the 3rd or 4th week, it was time to go to the high school weight room. So in we went. It was a totally junky place with barely any equipment. No one ever used it, but nonetheless, I got on the leg press and I put the pin in the stack and I started doing it. And then I put the pin even lower, made it heavier, and I kept doing it and heavier and heavier and heavier. And it was so empowering. And then I did the lat pull down and all of these things. And what I realized was that it wasn't a team. No one was depending on me. The only person I was working against was myself. And I wanted to be better tomorrow than I am today. And so this really, really caught on to me. And I was 16, so I had a driver's license. So I lived out in the country, but I could drive into the local community center. So I started driving into the local community center and doing my weightlifting and my running on the treadmill and all that stuff. It's so funny because now I think back how I wasn't intimidated one bit. I just walked into that weight room and owned it like a boss. And then you talk to 40-something-year-old women, and there's no way they're walking into a weight room and just owning it like a boss. So it's interesting when you're 16 years old how you just walk in there like it's nothing. So I called the YMCA when I was 16, and I said, I want to become a fitness instructor. And they could tell by my voice, you're young. So they said, you can't take the course until you're 18. So I said, okay, I'll call back when I'm 18. So I did. I called back when I was 18, and I took the fitness instructor course. And if you know me in real life, I'm 5'10", not so lanky anymore because I put on some muscle mass. But back then I was super long and lanky and very uncoordinated. So it was extremely challenging for me. But that's partly what drew me to it. Is it wasn't easy. It was a challenge, and it was against myself. So I actually won Fitness Instructor of the Year for Good Life in 1999. I'm dating myself here, but I really caught on to it, and I really, really liked it. So life's going great. I'm a fitness instructor. I'm very young to be a fitness instructor. And so among my now 19, 20, 21-year-old friends, they think I'm crazy. I'm always eating the healthy stuff at the restaurant, and I'm exercising all the time and doing all the right things, or so I thought. And then at about the age of 25, something went wrong with my health, and I couldn't figure it out. I went to every doctor and specialist and endocrinologist, and this went on for a year. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And back then there wasn't even Google, so I'm not even sure what I looked up, but I typed in something like vitamins for my symptoms. And of course, it was dial-up. Came really slowly, all this millions of supplements that I could take to help my symptoms. So I ran over to the local health food store, and I bought, at least 100 of them. And I had to literally create a spreadsheet of which ones take before meals, before bed, with meals, between meals. It was so complicated. But I started to see some relief. So I thought, I'm onto something here. I'm going to Google this again. So I Googled again, and up came, it's like the sky opened up. Up came the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. And I was like, that's it. I need to take this course and learn how to fix myself, because I'm searching outside myself for the answer and nobody can help me. I literally quit my job that day. I put my registration with a check, that's how you did it back then, into the mailbox. School was starting in a couple of weeks, and off I went to the school. And so I studied nutrition. I was planning to do it over 2 years, nice and calm, not too stressful, but I couldn't get it in fast enough. So I spoke to the owner at the time and said, you need to put me in the accelerated program. I need to learn this as fast as I can. It's mind-blowing. And so learning that literally changed my life. I turned my health around. It turned out I just had adrenal exhaustion from overtraining, which we will get into. And so it was just very serendipitous. After I graduated, I started teaching sports nutrition there. And then one day, I had literally sold my house. The closing date hadn't happened yet, but I sold the house, right time, right place, for a lot of money. And I didn't have a new house yet. And I went into the school to pick up my paycheck and head off for the summer break. And the owner, as I was leaving, said, oh, wait, do you know someone who wants to buy the school? I'm thinking of retiring. I was like, what? I had all this money and nothing to do with it because I didn't have a new house yet. And so obviously it's not that simple of a decision to buy a business, but nonetheless, I went through all the lawyers and accountants and financial statements and all of that stuff, and I decided to buy it. And it was absolutely the most amazing decision and career of my life. And I did that for 18 years until I just recently retired, we'll call it. And now I'm focusing just more on a smaller scale, so semi-retirement, we'll call it. Just working on a smaller scale, predominantly with women, but I do have a bunch of male clients tonight, actually, working with people just to optimize their health, a lot like you do, focusing on balancing hormones, nutrition, balancing blood sugar, exercise, and just all the pieces of the pie, and helping people just really, it's a cliche, but live their best life, really.
It's pretty cool that you have two stories that brought you into different paths. So Before we dig into the 5 reasons, and I know we can chat on this for a long time, but Natalie, why do you think, I don't even know the answer to this myself, but why do you think, I guess like food, people know that they should exercise, and they still don't, right? Like, and with food, I can almost understand because diet can be so overwhelming with the carnivore, the paleo, like, I can kind of wrap my head around that people will be confused and won't really know what to eat. But exercising, like we know for a fact, I mean, exercise as an antidepressant is better results actually on many research than even medication. So why do you think it is that people are still not exercising even though they know that they should?
I think a lot of people just don't know where to start. And I think also people choose something that they think they should do, but it's not necessarily something they enjoy. So people think they should join the gym. So they go over to the gym, they buy the membership, and they walk in there and they wander around the floor for a few minutes. They don't know what they should be doing. They don't know where to start. And so it's short lived. They might, try a couple machines. Oh, I don't even know what I'm doing. I look silly. They go walk on the treadmill for a little bit, go home, and then, these people are paying for the nice gym for the people who actually use it because they likely don't cancel their membership. They keep paying because they think, oh, I'm going to start next Monday or next Monday or next Monday, and it just goes on and on and on. So I think number one, people just don't know where to start. And number two, it's not about what you should do. It's just about moving your body and finding something you enjoy. So if that's hiking, if that's biking, if that's walking along the canal, if that's going to the gym, then fine. But it doesn't necessarily have to mean going to the gym. So I think people just need some guidance on where to start.
Yeah, and I think I see it with patients because they have their Fitbit and they're lying on my table, and I personally get I'm on my feet, my entire afternoon of adjusting. I get about 20 to 25,000 steps in a day, and sometimes it's 5 or 6 o'clock, and I see the step on the person on my table, and it's 2 or 3,000 steps. I'm like, wow. But that said, I think part of it, I would add to a third one, is people are more sedentary because of their job, unfortunately. So you really have to integrate that movement during the day. I always say to people, and I'm sure you'll talk about that, but you don't have time to go to the gym for some reason. Well, 10 minutes of body weight exercise, 10 minutes of walking with around your house, 10 minutes is better than nothing at all. And you add those at the end of the week and you've got more movement, right?
Yeah, actually, that's been an eye opener for me because I was so fortunate when I ran the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. I had an amazing team of staff. And so I didn't actually sit in front of a computer for very many hours of the day. I was out and about doing all kinds of things. I still trained a bunch of clients. I traveled. I lived a nice life. I didn't have to sit 8 hours or more in front of a computer. And now that I'm much more smaller scale and I do a lot of things on my own, whoa, it's true. I used to get, easily 16,000 steps a day without even thinking about it. And now that I do sit in front of a computer a lot more, you actually have to almost put it in your agenda to get up and go do things. And the greatest thing, as you'll know, is so simple. After each time that you eat, go out and take a walk around the block. It's going to help balance your blood sugar, clear your mind, sunlight, vitamin D, fresh air, mental
Yeah.
break. You'll actually be more productive in the day, but we get so caught up in this computer and we're just on it and our lives are so sedentary. And if you think of everything else too, I mean, if you're working from home, especially, you don't walk down to the coffee shop with your
Yeah.
buddies at work and grab a coffee. You don't, move around the office. You basically go from your kitchen fridge to your desk, which is about 10 steps. And I mean, these days people are door dashing. They're not even prepping their own food, and just the daily tasks would add up to some activity. But wow,
Yeah.
It's
And
really,
I feel
really
like
low.
you said, I feel blessed too that my job is very physical and active. But for the people that don't have a choice, like they even have to think about it even more. Just your lunch break, you're not sitting watching TV. It's just like you really have to integrate it. Another question that I wanted to ask, and we chatted offline, and I smiled when I saw your answer. But so many people get injured and they get discouraged, and I can say that because they get injured and they end up on my table because they've hurt their back, their neck, their knees, whatever. And I love what you said about not liking to say that because it. Would you care to elaborate? Because you have a really good point.
Yeah, I think especially women, because just generally speaking, women are more cautious than men, especially as we get older. But a lot of times people will say to me, I don't know, I don't want to go to the gym. I need to hire a trainer because I'm too afraid I'm going to hurt myself. And yes, there is somewhat of a risk that you can hurt yourself, but I promise you the risk of being sedentary is way riskier. The chance of you hurting yourself, hurting your health, is way higher if you live a sedentary life than going to the gym and picking up a few weights. And I mean, obviously, when you enter the gym, you're not starting out with 300 pounds on your back. So you're starting out at a beginner level and you're increasing from there. And I know that when I started, I wasn't doing things correctly because your body just doesn't, well, my long, lanky body didn't clue in how to move in those proper ways. But I didn't hurt myself. And I just got better and better and better. And then I could increase the weight and everything was okay. Now, if I had sat sedentary on my couch for the last 25 years, I'm sure I would have way more injury or illness than I would have going to the gym. And yes, have I had a sore knee here and there, a sore shoulder here and there? Yes. But that's you're going to pay a price either way. You pay a price sitting on the couch, you pay a price being active. I'd rather pay the price that comes along with being active. If that means I have to go see Dr. Nat once in a while, then so be it.
Yeah, and you make a good point now, thinking back. It is true that it is mostly men that get injured. And I don't know if it's because they do hit the weight room and then just go too heavy, too fast. I don't know. You just said that, and I thought, yeah, it's true that women, but also it could be because, and that's a pet peeve of mine, and I know we're going to talk about this, but I go to, I work out at home now, but I would go to a gym and you'd see all the women on the cardio equipment, and that's going to lead on to the first point, and all the guys in the weight room. And
Yeah.
I competed in natural bodybuilding, so I'm used to lifting, and it just always made me so sad that women were so afraid of weight training, and it just has so many health benefits. And so I guess Nat will dig right into the first of the reasons that people are not getting great results with their workout, and it's exactly that, right?
It is exactly that. And you're so right. You're so right. I am noticing though these days that the younger generation, like I have a 19-year-old daughter, and she hits the weight room floor. Now she was raised by me, so we won't use her as an example, but nonetheless, I see a lot of younger girls not afraid, not shy, not scared, not intimidated. Oh, maybe they are, but they forget all that and they do it anyways. They're on the gym floor, but I only see maybe two or three 40, 50-year olds. I'm always like, I see you. We know each other because there's only three of us. We see each other there every day because the rest are all on the cardio equipment or they're in the group fitness class, which is the same as the cardio equipment, right? Jumping up and down to some great music. It's super social. I'm not against it. It's just that if you are just a cardio queen or cardio king for that matter, because there are some of those too, that's you're not going to be able to reach your goals most likely if all you're doing is cardio, 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 cardio. And as we age, we know both men and women that our muscle mass is so critical to our quality of life, and we're losing it at a faster rate as we age, and we need to hold on to it the best we can. It's important for your metabolism. Everybody says, oh, my metabolism slows down and I don't burn as many calories. Well, if you still maintained all your muscle mass, you would, because muscle mass is a fat burning machine, even when I am lying on the couch watching Netflix. So it's one of the biggest mistakes that people make is cardio, 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 and not doing the lifting. And this is especially detrimental to women as they age and their hormones take a real nosedive, whereas men's are a little bit slower, easier to adjust to decline, but nonetheless, there's a decline. So women, for protecting their bone health, maintaining their muscle mass, quality of life, reducing the risk of injury and fall and all of that kind of stuff, muscle, muscle, muscle is so important. Now, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you familiar with Dr. Gabrielle Lyon and Muscle Centric Institute? I think she calls it. And one expression that she has with muscle is it's glucose sink. Like, it's just such a great way to mobilize and use glucose. So metabolism for is just so key. And again, like you said, women are shying away, and yet it would be the key to a lot of probably premenopausal issues and hormonal issues, correct?
Yeah, 100%. And it's so interesting. I was training a group of ladies the other day, and I use the word badass all the time, and because it's in them. They don't realize how strong they are. And we just unleash this. And one of my clients said, I think we need to put a sign on the door saying, caution, badass limit has been reached. I was like, yes, because there were like 5 women in the weight room with me, and they were just crushing it. And they felt so empowered, because when you focus on performance goals versus, oh, I want to lose this little bit or this little bit, or how's this looking, or how's this looking, it's like it's an endless battle, and it's not that exciting when you lose a pound or this skin got a little bit tighter. It's actually not that exciting. But if you just got your first pull-up, wow.
I was just going to say
you are literally screaming and jumping up and down, and you want to post that on Instagram and go home and show everybody. It's so much more exciting. So performance-based goals are really so much better, in my opinion, than these physical goals. And actually, the physical ones just happen as a side effect when you're focusing on your performance-based goals.
Exactly. And I mean, I can give the example of my stepdaughter. She's 34 and was never super athletic, but working out, she's doing great. Like, I've done a leg workout with her, and for someone who hasn't been lifting since she's 16, I'm like, wow, girl, you're strong. And again, it's empowering to her, because not being athletic or coordinated to, play a sport like tennis or whatever, but now all of a sudden, like you said, it's you against you, it's you improving. So there's a rush to it. There's definitely a rush to it.
Yeah.
Perfect. So reason number 2, why people are not getting the results.
Kind of goes with number 1, is that you're not lifting, but let's take that a step further. You're not lifting heavy enough. And again, I'm going to pick on the ladies here, because I see it so often that I don't know why, but the weights are always pink when they're 1 or 2 pound dumbbells. These little 2 pound dumbbells and the things that they're using, and they can carry on a full on conversation while they're lifting these weights, and so heavy. No, it's not. The laundry that you carry on your hip, the kids that you've been carrying around, the gym bag that you're carrying, all the things that you do in life, way, way more than that little pink dumbbell. So we need to challenge ourselves. And now I say, like, oh, hundreds of pounds. Well, hundreds of pounds is all relative, although many people I bring to the gym for the first time can squat 100 pounds. They just didn't know they could, because that sounds so heavy. I'd never tell them until they're done lifting. I say, do you know how much you just lifted there? That's a lot of weight. So that's one of the mistakes we make, is that we have to put the proper stimulus. I'm not going to use the word stress here, although that is the word. We'll say stimulus. We have to put the proper stimulus on the body for it to adapt. If I pick up a 1 pound weight or a soup can or whatever, that might be the level for some people, but not for very many. If I'm going to pick that up, my body is whatever. I lift this kind of stuff every day. It's no big deal. But if I pick up something heavy, which is relative to you, each one of us has different strength, that's cool. So it's heavy for me. I pick it up, my body says, wait a minute, what are we doing here? if she's going to do this again, or he is going to do this again, I need to adapt so that this isn't so freaking stressful. I'm going to make sure I get stronger, build some more muscle here, some more muscle cells, some stronger muscles, so that the next time this person does this to me, I'm prepared. It's not stressful. So your body adapts to the stress. This is the only way to actually build muscle, get stronger, and see all the benefits, is that you actually have to do a little bit of work. It can't be too light. So again, like you said, more men get injured. It's funny because I coached CrossFit for many, many years. And we make jokes as CrossFit coaches that we tell everybody, okay, everybody load up your bars, get ready for the workout. And then we have to walk around to the guys, I think you should take some weight off. And girls, really put some more weight on there. It's classic every time. So definitely, I'm speaking to the women here. Don't be afraid. You need to actually lift some weight. And I'm going to say that another fear besides getting hurt is that you're going to get big and huge and muscular. Well, you got two Natalies here who probably work out almost every single day for the last God knows how many years, and neither of us are big and huge and muscular. It's just not in the cards for us hormonally. If you see a woman who's big and huge and muscular, there is a rare, easy gainer, but chances are, the ones you see on social media and in magazines and competitions and all this stuff, typically that's a full-time job, which it's not for the rest of us, so we don't need to stress about it. Or they're artificially putting hormones inside their body that would help them achieve that type of muscle, because we don't have, and we never will have, that type of hormonal cocktail to grow big and huge. And again, anyone who has even a decent amount of muscle mass, it's like a full-time job to try to gain muscle mass and be big and huge as a woman. So definitely not a fear that you need to have.
Yeah, that's a huge myth that you just brought up, because a lot of women will say, I just want to tone. Like, what does that mean? Just want to tone, right? Like, and exactly this, if you don't have the hormones as much testosterone as the men do, you will not get to that point. So, and I think what's sidetrack on this, but what's your feeling with the gyms that have the weight room for the women and the weight room for the men? Like, I see it twofold. It can be beneficial because if the women are so intimidated, they won't even go if they go in the weight room. But I don't know. Have you been into one of those, Natalie? Like, the weights are not very high.
That's a really good question. And I agree with you. I think, this is great, because those that are feeling a little intimidated, or, feeling like they're being stared at or judged or whatever, might feel more comfortable in that environment. However, what I do notice, because sometimes some gyms I go to have a co-ed area and then a women's only area, and sometimes the women's only area is quieter, so I say, I'm going to go in there. And one more bonus of being a woman, I say, I'm going to go in there, but the weights are not that heavy in there. They're not heavy enough. The dumbbells go up to like 25 pounds. And I think to myself, really, really, this is such a stereotype that, these little women, we just need to put the little weights in here for them. But like you said, I think probably it's a good thing, because it might be a really good place for people who are really intimidated to start. But I, again, think you should just own it and walk in on that floor and crush it.
And I think you're right that the younger generation seem to be a little bit less intimidated. And I think it's probably because of social media and the videos of other women working out and so forth. So one plus for social media on that front, right? Like, it makes things more accessible and less, I guess, intimidating for people. Now, let's reason. Actually, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about reason number 3 why you may not be getting the results you want from your workout. So we'll be right back.
In today's world, the flood of health information feels endless. But amidst the noise, 2 experts with over 50 years of combined clinical experience come together to help you with Smart Cuts, Biohack Your Health Span, cutting-edge protocols for greater energy and performance. Dr. Paul Sly, a beacon for athletes, weekend warriors, and those seeking to elevate their potential. And Dr. Natalie Beauchamp, renowned for empowering individuals in their health journeys. Together, they've produced the book, Smart Cuts, Biohack Your Health Span, a protocol-based treasure trove packed with actionable steps. Journey through 5 transformative sections. Dive into sleep, hydration, movement, brain health, and even the secrets of longevity. Guided by their expert hands, unleash the best version of yourself. With over half a century of clinical wisdom and innovative protocols, reclaim your health and redefine your limits. Are you ready to embark on this transformative journey? Smart Cuts, available now.
And welcome back to Hack Your Health with Dr. Nat. And I am with my guest, Natalie Rivier, and we are talking about fitness and why people are not getting the results that they want. We are on reason number 3. So Natalie, take it away on that number 3.
Reason number 3 is that you are not doing the right type of exercise, and that's twofold. So we tend to focus a lot on movements that only work one muscle group at a time. So for example, I go and do a bicep curl. Yeah, I'm just working my bicep muscle. I'm moving only one joint, which is my elbow, and then I go on to my shoulder muscle and then my tricep. And first of all, this takes too long. And second of all, it's not giving you the best bang for your buck. The best bang for your buck is to go in and do compound exercises. So I'm not saying that you can't do bicep curls and tricep extensions and shoulder exercise and all those things. You can, absolutely, but you should include compound lifts, these full body movements that incorporate more than one muscle group at a time, because these are very anabolic exercises, which means they stimulate your body to grow muscle all over it. People will often ask me, oh, how did you get arms like that? And I say squats. So people think, what? Squats is for your legs. No, squats is for your whole body. It's a not anaerobic, too many terms in my head here. It's an anabolic exercise, which means it stimulates muscle growth all over your body. So you want to do exercises that work more than one muscle group and use more than one joint moves at a time. So if you think about a squat, which just sit down in your chair and get up, you bend at your hips, you bend at your knees, and there's movement at your ankles. So that's 3 joints that are moving. And if I say to somebody, what muscle are you working to do squats? They say legs. Yeah. How many muscles are in your legs? Lots. So you're using a whole lot of muscles to execute that. So it's a much more power generating, which is also super empowering. You lift a whole lot more in a squat than you can like a little bicep curl or a little shoulder side lateral raise or something like that. So these compound movements should be the main focus of your training, and then you can add in some movements that are specific to certain muscles like bicep curls. I always make a joke when I'm at the gym with my boyfriend because he doesn't like doing bicep curls. I say, if you don't have biceps, do you even work out, bro? Like, come on. You have to have bicep muscles. So, because I'm always doing the bicep curls just as a joke now. Which is fine. You can throw those in, but the majority or the focus of your workout should be on those compound lifts, which include things like back squat, deadlift, bench press, and overhead shoulder press. So those are kind of your main 4. There are more than those, but those are kind of your main lifts, and then you can supplement it with other things. So why not get the best bang for your buck? Go in, use those multi-joint, multi-muscle movements.
Yeah, and I'll chime in as a chiropractor here because, I always talk about functional movement that, you're going to, it's gardening season right now. You're going to bend down, you're going to do certain things. You're going to pick up your laundry. Like those are movement that we do daily. And it's pretty sad sometimes when, you ask someone that doesn't exercise, can you do a squat? And they can't, right? Like, so it's exactly for the reason that you said, but it's also for life, right? So, I mean, even what we're talking about right now is you're training not for a marathon or a competition, you're training for life. You're training to be able to perform the movement. And I always say too that, I think everyone should be able to do a pull-ups. not that I'm anticipating hanging from a cliff and having to lift myself for my life, but at the end of the day, we should be able to lift ourselves, and we should be able to sprint. I mean, we don't have the bear or the tiger chasing us anymore, but we should still be able to do that. So it's as we get older, we get wiser, and I always say you want to train for health, you want to train for life, you want to be able to do the movement, play with the grandkids on the floor without
Yeah.
needed to be lifted. So those compound movement are key with your workouts, but also those functional movement, because those movement you need to do during your day.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I can't believe it. In the last year, 3 people have called me and said, it's time for an intervention because they tried to do this one thing and they couldn't do it anymore. One was at Christmas. A woman wanted to put a star on the top of her tree. And so she put one leg on the coffee table and tried to just step up and she couldn't do it. And she thought, what? Like, I can't even step up my own body weight onto the chair or the table to reach up. Like, whoa, it's time for an intervention. And 2 other people this year called me with the same thing. They were like, I tried to step up on something and I couldn't do it. And it was like a real eye opener. So yeah, what do we do at the gym? We put 2 dumbbells in each hand and we start stepping up and down on that bench or that box and get that strength because it's just everyday life.
Yeah, but good on them for realizing that and wanting to make a difference. I just wrote a blog this week, and it was on VO2 max and how much the research is showing that it can be such a good indicator of longevity. And people are thinking, oh, VO2 max is for athletes. No, no, no. Like, you need a certain VO2 max to dress yourself, to go about your daily activity. So if you lose VO2 max capacity as you age, you kind of do the reverse math here and figure out that if your VO2 max is already low, what is it going to look like when you're 70 and 80? So again, the example of training for life, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. All right. So reason number 4
is rest and switching things up. So sometimes when we start exercising, we go real hard out of the gates, which is such a human thing. We come up with an idea and we run with it and then it fizzles out. It's sort of the same thing with exercise. When we start out, we're so gung-ho and we just go hard out of the gates and we forget that rest is when we actually build and repair and when those muscles actually turn into muscle, right? We need that recovery time. So rest is really critical, but so is switching things up. We need to switch things up. Like I said previously, if I go to the gym, or I always do the gym just because it's my thing, but it could be any type of exercise. If I'm not challenging myself, my body doesn't need to grow, get stronger, get better, get faster, get better cardiovascularly, because it's not enough stimulus or stress for it to have to adapt. So if I keep doing the same thing all the time, and I don't challenge myself, my body's like, this again, no big deal. It's got it all figured out. So we need to throw it a curveball every once in a while and just switch up the things that we're doing so that we make the body have to, again, respond, adapt, get stronger, healthier, and better. So it just keeps having to adapt. But so we need to have that rest days and those rest times, but we also need to keep things, we need to mix it up, mash it up. And I mean, that means you can go to the gym forever and ever and ever, but you're going to change up your workouts and the types of exercises that you do periodically so that you create a new stimulus or stress that the body has to adapt to.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, I have such a hard time to follow a program because I get bored from one week to the other that I'll just change a little something. It's just, I don't think I could legit follow a regimen, and I always been like that. And I like to change things up probably every 4 weeks. What do you suggest for people to change their
Yeah,
workout?
so I change mine about it changes day to day, but it kind of follows the same scale for 8 weeks. And then it shifts after that. And again, it might be a lot of the same exercises, but I might be doing a whole bunch of lower repetitions, heavier weight. And then the next 8 weeks, it's higher repetitions and a lighter weight. And it's just different types of exercises and a different type of stimulus. So that part is really important because that's another human habit too, is that we get into the cycle of doing something, and that's just what we do now. It's part of our routine. So we do the same thing. If you think about it, if you go to the gym, you go always to the same locker. If someone took your locker,
Mhm.
what's going on? That's my locker. You go to the same locker, you do the same thing, you do the same warm up, the same. We're such creatures of habit. So it's really important to mix things up. But honestly, these days, it's pretty easy because all of the things on the internet, you can even type into AI, create me a workout program. You need a little bit more detail than that. It's not going to come up very good, but there's so many ways to find new and fun and great
Yeah,
ways to challenge yourself.
I've noticed throughout the years that I would change gym every 3 years because it got, same things again. And I think it's great to tap into the seasons, right? Like it's hiking with my vest. It's snow. I never snowshoes. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. But during COVID, I was snowshoeing in my backyard here with an exercise mask, just to increase the intensity of my workout, so to change it up and to change it up with things that we love. So again, if you're the weight room is tricky because you do need to lift weight, but you have to do something that you enjoy, because this stickability is not going to be there as much. So it's that fine balance of integrating the two.
Yeah, exactly.
Now let's go on to number 5, which is something that I talk about all the time.
Yes. So number 5 has to do more with nutrition, but it's super, super important that we fuel ourselves properly. And one of the main things is protein. I know we hear a lot about it these days, but it really, 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 really is important. Protein is key in terms of not only just maintaining your muscle mass, but building. We think about protein, whenever we hear the word protein, we think muscles. So yes, you need protein to build muscles, but you know what? Protein is the building blocks of everything in your body. So if you want nice hair, skin, and nails, you want good immune system function, you want good hormone balance, protein, protein, protein builds your hormones, builds your immune system, builds your hair, your skin, your nails, and yes, also your muscles. Now, of course, as I've said, as we get older, our muscle mass starts to naturally decline. So critical that we give the body the tools that it needs to actually build that muscle mass. And protein is key. And not to mention, we know, or you and I know anyways, there's so many other benefits to eating protein, because it helps with those glucose spikes when you eat, and then the subsequent crash that affects your energy and your mood. So it's really important to include protein with our meals and our snacks, so that we have the tools to be able to build our bodies, recover, repair, and then have enough protein to build all the other things too. Because I see this in some people, it's very common in marathon runners actually, is that you will see that they might be growing their muscles, but then they start to look like they age more rapidly. They look older than they actually are, even though they're super fit. Right there, that's a sign. So the protein's coming in, but it's being used to repair the muscles only because the person trains a lot. That's why I see it a lot in marathon runners, because you don't just wake up in the morning and run 42 kilometers. You have to train a lot. So the body will prioritize repairing the muscles, but at the expense of everything else. And so if we're not getting in enough protein, then it's kind of working against us. Maybe we will start building our muscles, but then the other parts of our body are going to suffer. And I see it a lot. People look like rapidly aging. It's just not enough protein coming in. Simple as that.
Are you pretty much 1 gram of protein per pound of weight that we should be at? Is that what you tell your clients?
Yeah, as a minimum, and post-menopause, even more.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
1.2. Also depends how much you train. But yeah, the 1-for-1 is simple, and that's definitely not going to hurt anybody. So 1-to-1 of your ideal or your proper body weight. If you're extremely overweight, then obviously, if I was 200 pounds, I wouldn't eat 200 grams of protein. I'd probably stick with the 150, which is more accurate for me. And if you're underweight, then you would eat the grams of protein for, again, your ideal weight. So
Yeah.
yes.
Natalie, what about I myself do quite a bit of intermittent fasting, and it's challenging to get my proteins in. Like I tell you, it is a bit challenging. How do you address that for your clients or even for yourself?
I'm actually a big fan of protein powder, which some people want to shy away from, and I don't know why they want to shy away from it, because in most cases it's just basically ground up food into a powder. It's not any, weird and crazy synthetic scientific experiment in a jar. So I'm not sure why people shy away from it, but in my case, even, it is the only way that I can get in all of the protein that I need in a day, mostly even just for a variety. Like, there are only so many chicken breasts and pieces of meat that I can eat in a day, and I can't tolerate eggs, actually, so I don't eat eggs. So protein powder, I'm a huge fan of protein powder. I have written a little book about pre and post workout performance, and there's a whole bunch of protein shake or smoothie recipes in there, because I love smoothies. You can pack so many great things in there, not just the protein.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really an advocate of protein powder as a way of getting in the grams of protein, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it if you're not buying one that's full of artificial flavors and colors and things like that.
Yeah. I'm happy to hear you say that with your nutrition background, because that's what saves me to do I've been doing whey protein, and sometime I'll throw in a vegetarian protein. Lately, maybe the past year or two, I've been sipping on amino acid, and I find that quite helpful actually throughout the day. So, because yes, you're right. There's so many chicken breasts, and I remember when I was competing in natural bodybuilding, six chicken breast a day, and it's just I think I really overdid it, and now I'm almost traumatized with those. So let's talk a little bit before we wrap up the show. When you work with a client, Natalie, that the person that was not able to put the ornament, when these people contact you, I'm assuming you adapt it to whomever you have, but describe your process, because I think, again, if people have been thinking of hiring a personal trainer, but they maybe are intimidated, it's like, oh no, it's just for, certain type of people. So how do you address it? How do you approach it to make people comfortable?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because usually when I meet with my clients, I tell them on the first session, I just want to see how they move. I just want to see their mobility, what they're capable of doing. And this gives me a really good idea of where we can start, because I don't want the person to get injured either. A, because that's not good for them, but B, how am I going to earn a living if all my clients are injured and they can't come to their training sessions, right? So it's a little bit selfish too. I don't want them to get injured, because this is a beneficial relationship for both of us. So I always look at movement patterns with my clients at first, because some people, like you said, they can't squat, they can't do certain things like that. So we will just build up over time towards that. And people usually have a good idea of the things they can and can't do, although they're usually surprised when I say, well, let's try. And then they say, oh, look at that, I can do it. So usually my first session is just I call it a test. It sounds intimidating, but I always make jokes with them. I say, okay, I'm going to run you through a few tests here, because I just want to see where we're at. And then we just build from there. And it's, of course, super individualized, but I still focus on compound movements, even if that means you're just using your own body weight for now. And I incorporate some, single muscle specific movements along with that. But the focus is always compound full body movements. And I do cardio and conditioning with my clients, but it's typically I call it quick and dirty. So we work at a really high intensity for a short period of time. Again, this puts a big stimulus on your body. Your body's going to have to learn to adapt to that. So it's a bigger stimulus on the body than, standing on Stairmaster watching Candy Crush or Cake Wars or whatever is on the TV these days. That, again, is not really doing a whole lot for your body to have to adapt and get stronger. Yeah, your your heart and lungs will get improved cardiovascular function for sure. But nobody wants to spend 45 minutes on Stairmaster. Who's got time for that? So these quick and dirty workouts, I do them at the end after we've lifted our weights, 10 minutes maximum of some hard 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off, things like that. Sometimes we just go outside, find a hill, run. Could be a brisk walk for some, up, walk down, run up, walk down. Things like that is, again, super practical, like you said. Every once in a while you need to be able to run. You decide to cross the street and, oh, shoot, a big bus is coming. You got to pick up the pace and get your butt across the street there. So things like that. And then a lot of my clients will sort of graduate, we'll call it, and they want to train by themselves. And so I call it my strong squad, my group of people that I write programming for. So I call it Strong Squad. I use an app. I give people their customized weekly gym programming, and away they go on their own. And the app allows them to communicate with me. It allows me to attach videos in case they forget, like, oh, what's a Bulgarian split squat? Or, oh, I forget. How do I do this? So there's videos in there of every exercise, and they can message me and say, oh, my legs are still sore from Monday, so can you give me something else for today? Absolutely. And they can just let me know how it's going. I can see the weights they lifted, so I'm constantly adjusting their program to make it challenging enough for them. So there's a way to interact, one-on-one in person, but then also, some people want to go train by themselves or with a friend, or they want to train when they travel and things like that. So there's always a way to access your coach, whether it's, one-on-one personal training or.
And I'm glad you say that word coach, because everyone needs a coach. I'm a business owner. I need a coach in my business. And we should not be shy to ask for help. And even at the level that I'm at, sometime I'll ask a friend. Actually, there's four of us that are in a group, and one was just, we all work out, and one says, I've changed things around completely. Again, your reason number 3, changing things around. So I'm like, you know what, Dave, let's post your workout to the group, and let's all do it for the next 4 weeks, completely different than what I normally do. But, it's nice to change, but it's also, there's no shame into having someone else program your workout just to change it up, because we're a creature of habit, let alone the locker that's the same. We are often going to do the same kind of routine at the gym. So not being shy to change it up, I think is super important.
Yeah, I have a coach too, even at the level that I'm at. Been training people for literally 30 years, but I would just do all the things I'm good at. So I have a coach, and they, when you look at yourself from the outside, it's always better than you looking in. So when someone is giving me my programming, it's really helpful for me to move outside of my own head.
Yeah, the accountability piece is huge, and that's one of the things that I like when I did CrossFit is I didn't have to think. You just follow the programming for the day, and it's just, we think so much all day long that I appreciated being told what to do. So Natalie, we need to wrap up. You and I could chat on this for quite some time. So where can people find you? Because I believe you're quite active on Instagram. If they want to follow you, your website, where can they find you?
Yeah, I really have been just growing my business organically. So I took my website down, but my Instagram, yes, you can find me there for sure, which is just my name, Natalie_Rivier is the best way to reach out to me there. And then I just always do a free Zoom call with my clients, and we figure out what they need from there rather than, reading pages and pages on my website. I just took it down. Yeah.
And, something has to be said about simplicity. So I know that with you selling the nutrition school and kind of reinventing yourself, you probably are going with the simplification, and it's good. So 100%. You should. Perfect. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Natalie, for sharing your wisdom with us. So this was Dr. Natalie Beauchamp and Natalie Rivier, and we gave you hopefully great information to motivate you to go to the weight room, try it out, prove us wrong with those 5 reasons that we said that you were not going to, get the results that you wanted. So until next time, We're going to say stay active, stay moving, and get out there to stay fit and get fitter. Thank you.
Thanks.
Welcome to Dr. Natalie's 7-Day Hack Your Health Challenge. Transform your fitness level with 7 quick, do them from anywhere workouts. Look and feel great. Nutrition. Master the art of optimizing your diet and maximizing nutrient intake with daily nutrition challenges. Biohacking. Unlock exclusive content to tap into your body's innate wisdom. Take on challenges to optimize your mindset and physiology. Ready to transform your health? Visit www.drnat.life to join Dr. Natalie's 7-Day Hack Your Health Challenge. Your journey begins now.